Namaskar students. In today's lecture, we will try to understand inductance. So in my previous lecture, I have explained basic principle of Faraday's law, and then I have derived a mathematical expression for Faraday law, and we have obtained that del cross E is equal to minus del B upon del T, and the meaning of that mathematical equation is that changing magnetic field induces an electric field, or one can say that. So here if you see, the magnetic field is time dependent phenomena. So in previously, if you go back to the electrostatic case, where we have learned that del cross E is always equal to 0, but here in this case, why this del cross E is not equal to 0? Because magnetic field is changing. Okay, if magnetic field is changing, so changing magnetic field induces an electric field in the circuit, and therefore, or basically changing magnetic field that gives the electromotive forces EMF, that is equal to minus del phi upon del T, that is flux is basically changing in the circuit, and because of change of flux, an induced EMF is generated within the circuit, and that EMF is basically what we have called, that is line integral of electric field, that is basically known as the EMF. So in today's lecture, we will move little forward to understand the inductance of an closed loop. So in order to understand that, let us assume that we have two loop 1, okay, so this is loop 1 and this is another loop, that is loop 2. Let us assume that both loop are separated some distance, maybe r. I will take maybe later on. And in loop 1, current I1 is flowing, let us say. In loop 1, current I1 is flowing. I have taken this arbitrary shape of loop, means that shape of the loop is not defined. And we have learned that in my one lecture, that it doesn't matter that what is the shape of loop, but this divergence of B guarantee that the total flux that will be the same irrespective of the shape of the loop. And I have derived a mathematical expression that induced EMF because of the non-rectangular loop, means if the shape of the loop is changing, then we have seen that EMF is equal to minus del phi upon del T. That means in that case also the flux, the total rate of change of flux, that also give the induced EMF in the circuit, in that particular loop. So because if current is flowing in this loop, let us say loop 1, so obviously if the current is flowing, we know that number of magnetic field lines will be generated in loop 1. So here I have drawn the magnetic field lines which is passing through the loop 1, because of the current which is flowing. So obviously there will be flux, means the flux of B, that is magnetic field lines. The number of field lines passing through this closed loop, that is basically known as the flux. So here if you see, so this is magnetic field line B1, I have denoted B1. So if you see that some of the magnetic field line which is generated due to the current flow in loop 1, and they are passing through the loop 2 also. You remember here there is no current, I have not allowed to flow any current in the loop 2, but whatever this magnetic field line are passing through the loop 2, these magnetic field lines are generated because of the current flowing in the loop 1, and that is why I have written B1. Okay, if the magnetic field line are passing through the loop 2 due to the flow of current in loop 1, so we can find out some flux here, how many flux, means how much flux is passing through the loop 2. So if we try to write, let us say from Biot-Savart we know if current is flowing in any closed loop, closed circle, but here we have not defined the loop. So in any closed loop, so we can write the magnetic field. Magnetic field from Biot-Savart law can be written as B1 is equal to B1 at a point R. This I have taken arbitrary point R at any point. So B1 R is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I1, that is current is flowing in loop 1. Okay, so this is B1 is magnetic field due to flow of current I1 in loop 1. Okay, so B1 at R is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I1 in, that is line integral of closed path, that is this line integral of closed path, dl1 means the displacement vector on loop 1 cross product with r unit vector upon r square, where r is the some position vector from the displacement. Okay, so if we try to find out the flux in loop 1, so we can find out phi 1 if we define phi 1 in loop flux in loop 1, and if we define the phi 2 is the total number of flux, okay, yeah, flux of b1 which is passing through the loop 2, that is phi 2. Here I have defined. So if we try to find out the how many number of field line या flux are passing through the loop 2, so that phi 2 will be equal to obviously magnetic field, that is surface integral of b1, because these field lines are passing because of the b1. So b1 dot area vector dA2, why I have taken, because these number of field line are passing through the loop 2, that is why the area vector of second loop. Okay, so that phi 2 is equal to surface integral of b1 dot dA2. If you see here closely, this b1 magnetic field at any point r, this point may be here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe any arbitrary point, this is directly proportional to current flowing in the loop 1, I1. So here I have written b1 at any point r, that is proportional to I1. If you see this expression, then phi 2, so phi 2 is also proportional to b1. It means indirectly we can say that phi 2 is proportional to b1. So here I have written phi 2 is proportional to b1, if you see here. So this expression, if you compare, b1 is proportional to I1 and phi 2 is proportional to b1, so that means phi 2 is proportional to I1. Okay, are you getting my point? It means the number of flux of b1, number of magnetic field lines which are passing through the loop 2, that is directly proportional to the current flowing in the loop 1. As if you increase the current in loop 1, obviously magnetic field line will increase. If magnetic field line will increase, the number of flux through the loop 1 will increase. So that is why we can say that the number of flux of B2, number of flux in loop 2, that is passing through the loop 2 due to B1, so that is phi 2 is directly proportional to B1. Therefore, we can say that phi 2 is directly proportional to I1. It means number of magnetic field lines passing through the closed loop 2, that is directly proportional to current flowing in the loop 1. Okay. So now if you remove, so this mathematical expression, this above mathematical expression gives an relation phi 2 is directly proportional to I1. If you remove the proportionality constant, so what we will get? Phi 2 is equal to M21. Okay. Where this M21 I have given name, how one can read this M21, and what is this constant that I am explaining. So this M21 is known as that is basically a proportionality constant, because the number of field line passing through the loop 2, that is directly proportional to number of the current flowing in the loop 1. So it means if you see those two loops, it means both loop 2 and loop 1, both have some understanding, means there is some relation between loop 1 and loop 2. That is why phi 2 is proportional to current flowing in loop 1. Okay. So this constant of proportionality is known as the mutual inductance. This is known as the mutual inductance of loop 2. So this is basically one can read M21, that is mutual inductance of loop 2 current, because of current flowing in loop 1. So mutual inductance of loop 2 because of the current flowing in loop 1. That is why I have written mu M21. M21, mutual inductance of loop 2 because of the current flowing in loop 1. Okay. So this quantity is defined as the mutual inductance of the loop 2. Okay. So as I have written here, this phi 2 is equal to surface integral b1 dot dA2. So here I have written, let us say this is displacement vector dl1, dl2. So this is two loops. So before that, I will go in detail. Before that, if we try to write phi 2 now, so phi 2 is equal to surface integral of b1 dot dA2, and this phi 2 I have here explained, because phi 2 is directly proportional to I1. So this phi 2 can be written as m21. So we can write this phi 2 is equal to surface integral of b1 dot dA2 is equal to m21 I1. Okay. It means if we differentiate this phi 2, if we differentiate with respect to time, this number of field line, magnetic field line passing through the loop 2, if you differentiate with time, so that will give the EMF which is induced in loop 2. Okay. So we can write induced EMF in loop 2 because of the change of flux, rate of change of flux with respect to time. So that is E is equal to minus d phi 2 upon dt. And if you differentiate it, what you will get? So phi 2 is equal to m21 I1. So if you get, that is I is equal to minus m21 d I1 upon dt. So this is giving a very beautiful mathematical expression to understand what is the mutual inductance, and this E is known as the, that is induced EMF electromotive forces in loop 2, and this induced EMF is generated in loop 2 because of the, if you see, this E is now equal to minus m21 d I1 upon d2. It means as the current in loop 2, as the current I1 which is flowing in loop 1, that is changing in loop 1, and this change in current in loop 1 is basically generating an EMF in loop 2. Okay, a changing current in loop 1 is generating an electromotive forces, electromotance in loop 2. So because of this understanding between those two loops, so this quantity m21 is known as the mutual inductance of the loop 2. So this is known as, m21 is known as the mutual inductance of loop 2 because of the current flowing in loop 1. Okay, I hope you understood. Now if you move forward here, I have written phi 2 is equal to surface integral of b1 dot dA2. If you move forward little bit, so we know that now if you take phi 2 is equal to b1 dot dA2, surface integral of closed path, closed surface. So we know that b1 is equal to, that is the in terms of vector potential, so that is del cross A1, where this A1 is the vector potential of loop 1 at point vector potential due to loop 1 at some point R. So if you substitute this, the phi 2 can be written as surface integral of closed surface, that is del cross A1 dot dA2, where dA2 is the area of the loop 2. Remember, this is dA2 is the area of the loop, area vector of the loop second, and B1 is the magnetic field line of the due to loop 1, and phi 2 is the number of flux which is passing through the loop in loop 2. Don't be confused with this. Okay. So it means we can write this phi 2, that can be written as a surface integral of closed surface, that is del cross A1 dot dA2. And from Stokes law, this surface integral can be converted into a line integral. So we can write phi 2 is equal to line integral of closed path A1 vector dot dL1, where dL1 is the displacement vector on loop 1. If you go back to the second diagram, here I have explained. If you see, let us assume them we have two loops, same loop I have taken. So here displacement vector of loop 1, and this is displacement vector of loop 2, and the separation between these two loops, that is R. Okay, and the current is flowing in loop 1, and because of the flow of current, number of magnetic field lines are generated, and the number of magnetic field line which is passing through the loop 2, that is giving the flux, that is phi 2. And we have seen that phi 2 is directly proportional to current which is flowing in loop 1, so that phi 2 is proportional to I1, and this is giving the mutual inductance. Okay. So here if you try to write vector potential for loop, so this is basically A1 is the vector potential at point R because of the flow of current in loop 1. So from definition of vector potential, if we try to write, so that is A1 at point R is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I1, that is current flowing in loop 1, because we are writing A1 I1, and line integral of closed path, that is dL vector upon R. So this R is a magnitude, remember, that is separation between the two displacements, between the displacement vector to the point R. where we are calculating, we are measuring the potential. So if you try to write this phi 2, if you have to substitute this A1 into this expression. If you do that, so this phi 2 will be equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi I1, because we are substituting this A1. In A1 we have a I1, so mu 0 upon 4 pi I1, this is basically scalar quantity I have taken outside, and then line integral of closed path. Okay, so here if you see, one line integral of because this quantity, another line integral of because of this one. So there will be two integral, one integral of this one, that is line integral, so that is line integral, and then in place of this A1 vector I have, because this is scalar I have taken outside, so we will get this quantity, that is line integral of closed path dl1 upon r, and then okay, dl1 upon r. Sorry, I think here there should be dl2, so this should be dl2. I made a mistake. So because we are converting this displacement, this area vector of second loop, so this should be dl2. Okay, so this should be dl2. So I should say that, so this should be 1 minute, so that is, this is dl2. Okay, this is dl2. Why this is dl2? Because if you see, so this is the area vector, we are converting this surface integral into line integral. So here this area vector will come into the displacement vector, and this del cross A1 will come into A1. Okay, that was the mistake. So this is dl2. So now if you substitute this value of A1 vector is mu 0 upon 4 pi I1 surface line integral of dl1. Here this displacement vector of on loop 1, remember. So this is the displacement vector on loop 1, and this is the displacement vector on loop 2, because we have converted this area vector of loop 2 in a line displacement vector of loop 2. Okay, in this is phi 2, and this phi 2 is now in terms of vector potential of loop 1 and displacement vector of loop 2. Okay, don't be confused. Okay, I made a clear how this dl2 I have written. Now if you substitute this A1 value, so if you see, one integral of this phi 2 and this dl2 is there, and if we are substituting this A1, A1 will contain another integral, so there will be two integrals. So the mu 0 upon 4 pi I1 line integral of this one, and then A1, in place of A1 I have substituted this line integral dl1 vector upon r, and outside of that there is dl2, so dl2 vector. Okay, so that is dl2 vector. I hope you understood how I have written this expression. Now if you simplify this expression, so this is a vector quantity, this is vector quantity, and this I1, that is scalar, and this is scalar, so we can write phi 2 is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi. So I hope, open the bracket. So this line integral means there is two line integral. Okay, dl1, because this is vector and there is dot product between both displacement vector, so dl1 vector dot dl2 vector divided by r, this is scalar, into this current I. Now if you go back to my previous expression, what we have written, that is phi 2 is directly proportional to I1, means number of flux in loop 2, that is number of flux of V in loop 2, that is directly proportional to current flowing in I1, and that this expression gives the definition of mutual inductance of loop 2 because of the current flowing in loop 1, that phi 2 is equal to M21. If we compare both expression, if you compare this both expression, so what we have phi 2 is equal to M21 I1. If you see, this is phi 2 is equal to this quantity, and this phi 2 is equal to this quantity. So we can get the mathematical expression for the mutual inductance of the loop 2 because of the current flowing in loop 1. If you do that, if you compare both expression, what we will get? It means in place of I is there, and M21 is equal to this quantity, that is in bracket. So M21 is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi double line integral dl1 vector dot dl2 vector upon r. So this quantity is known as the mutual inductance of loop 2 because of the flow of current in loop 1. Okay, and this formula is known as the Neumann formula. This is known as the Neumann formula. Okay. Now, here in this case, in order to calculate this expression, that for M21, I have allowed to flow current in loop 1, and we are measuring the flux of B which is passing through the loop 2, and we can do the similarly we can do the reverse process. Means what we can do, if you go back, so we can do these things, that is we can make a flow of current in loop 2. Let us say if we allow to flow current in loop 2, that is I2 current, okay, and if we measure the number of flux, number of field line of B which is passing through this area of the loop 2, loop 1, then if we do calculations, okay, is it clear? I think no. Now in first case, what we have done, we have allowed to flow current I1 in loop 1, and then this is generating the magnetic field line B1, okay, and we have measured the number of magnetic field line B1 which is passing through the loop 2, and we have called this is the flux of B1 through the surface 2, okay, and this is giving the, and we have seen that phi 2, number of flux phi 2, that is proportional to I1, and we have defined the mutual inductance, that is M21, okay. Now if you reverse the situation, means if we allow to flow current I2 in loop 2, okay, so it will generate the magnetic field line B2, okay, and then if we try to find out the number of field line of B which is passing through the loop 1, so that we will call phi 1, okay, and then we'll define, so phi 1 will be obviously proportional to I2. Similarly, that here I have defined phi 2 is equal proportional to I1. If you reverse the situation, that will give the phi 1 will be proportional to I2, and then in that case it will give phi 1 will be equal to M12 I2. That means that will give the mutual inductance of loop 1 due to the flow of current in loop 2, okay. So if you do that, and if you similarly do the calculations for mutual inductance, so what we will get, if you go back and look here, if you do that, so because if you see M21 is only depend upon the displacement vector dl1 and dl2, okay, and there is no current term, no current term, and R term is similar for both cases. If you see here in this expression, I have taken only what is the dependent mutual inductance depend upon the displacement vector of loop 1 and displacement vector of loop 2 and the separation between them, and nothing else. It is not depending upon the current, okay, that mathematical expression. So if you do that, similarly if you do the calculations for phi 1, so phi 1 will be obviously M12 and I2. So if you do that, and if you do the similar calculations, I am not doing that, so you will get similar expression for M12. M12 will be also equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi double integral line integral dl2 dot dl1. It will give dl2 dot dl1 upon R, because this is dot product, so A dot B is equal to B dot A. That means again we can write this line integral of mu 0 upon 4 pi. So M12 can be written as mu 0 upon 4 pi line integral, that is dl1 dot dl2 upon R. So if you see, then you can find out this M21 is exactly equal to M12. So that means what we can say, so we can find out this M21 will be equal to M12 if we switch the role of loop 1 and loop 2, okay. And remember this M21, that is mutual inductance, this is a purely, if you see, it is not depending upon anything, no? It is not depending upon anything. So this means this mutual inductance M21 or M12, this is a purely geometrical quantity. This is a purely geometrical quantity, and having to do with the size, shape and relative position of the two loops. That means the mutual inductance between two loops that only depend upon their shape of the loop, the size of the loop and their position, if you see 1 upon r, that position how much far they have situated, that depends. So this is a purely remember, this is very important, this M mutual inductance M21 or M12, that is a purely geometrical quantity, and it depends only upon the size, shape and relative position of the two loops. Okay, I hope I made clear. So let us move forward. Now what I have done till now, I have taken two loops and they are situated at some distance r, and we are allowed to flow current in loop 1, first loop, and we are measuring the number of flux of B1 in loop 2, and similarly if you do the vice versa, then we have to try to find out the mutual inductance of loop 2 in loop 1 and mutual inductance of loop 1 due to loop 2. So M12 and M21 is equal to, they are same, and they are purely geometrical quantity. And apart from that, let us say we have only one loop. Okay, we have only one loop, we are not having two loops. So experimentally it is also observed that if we have one loop and if we allow to flow the current in loop only with single loop, and current is flowing, so we know that because this is also a closed loop, if current is flowing, the number of magnetic field line will be generated in loop 1 because this is having a closed surface. Okay, so we know the basic definition of induced electromotive forces, that EMF, that is equal to negative rate of change of flux with respect to time. If you change the current, obviously number of flux field line which is passing through the loop, this single loop, that will be changing. So this will give the EMF. EMF is equal to minus del phi upon del t. So this minus del phi upon del t, if you try to write, so this can be written as, if you multiply di here and di here, the di, if you multiply di and divide with di, so di will cancel out, so the expression will not change. So this, our expression remains same, but this is giving some new understandings. So if you see here, this minus d phi upon di, and this is giving di upon dt, di upon dt. Okay, so we will define a new quantity here, this d phi upon di. This quantity is known as denoted as L, and this quantity is known as the self inductance of the loop. Self inductance, yeah, inductance of the loop. Why it is called self? Because the inductance, because of the own current. Here we are trying to find out the inductance, means the electromotive forces is generated because of the current flowing in the same loop. So that is why this quantity L is known as the self inductance, yeah, inductance of the own loop. So this is defined as d phi upon di. If you see here, d phi upon di, that means the number of flux. What is the self inductance? This is number of field line of B, number of magnetic field line B, and number of flux is changing with respect to current. As you change the current, the number of flux will be changing in the same loop. So that is why this is known as the self inductance. Okay, and that was known as the mutual inductance because that was the understanding between two loops. Current was changing in first loop and flux was flux was changing in second loop. So that is why we have called mutual inductance between two loops. But here we are calling self inductance of the own loop. So if you see here, if you evaluate, so this is basically we can find out the electromotance, yeah, EMF of the self loop, that is equal to minus L di upon dt. So this is another definition of electromotive forces, yeah, EMF, if current is flowing in a one loop, so that it can be written as a minus L di upon dt. Okay, I hope you understood. If you go back here also, I think defined, we have got some formula. If you see here also we have got inductance, that this is basic, but this is the EMF. So this is electromotive forces, EMF in loop 2 because of the flow of current in loop 1, and here you have multiplied the mutual inductance between the two circuit, two loop, basically this two circuit. So this is another definition of the inductor, this we can say EMF. So this is very important expression. So these are important. Okay. So this is another definition of electromotive forces, and here what we are obtained now, because of the self current. So this is another definition. So again this is very important. So this is another definition of EMF. Okay. So now if you move it forward, so we can write this d phi is equal to L di, or we can find out the, if you integrate, so phi will be proportional to I, or phi is, if you remove the proportionality constant, so phi will be equal to Li. Okay, where L is known as the self inductance of the particular circuit, as self inductance of the loop, and this inductance is measured, that unit of the injection inductance, that is measured in Henry, whether it is mutual inductance or self inductance, both have same unit. Okay, inductance is a having unit that is measured in terms of Henrys. This is the name of the scientist in honor to whom this unit has been given, Henry. If you write the actual unit of Henry, so this can be written as volt second per ampere. Volt second per ampere. So 1 Henry is equal to volt 1 volt 1 second per ampere. Okay. So I hope you understood my lecture, and this is very important lecture in order to understand the several phenomena in electrostatic, in electrodynamics, in electromagnetic theory. Okay. So if you have any doubt, any suggestion, any comments, please feel free to write on my YouTube channel. Thanking you very much for listening. Thanks a lot.